Good morning. I'm Dylan St. John, Chief of Operations and Development, and I'm excited to be talking with you today about how we think about product development at NeuroPace. I'm going to start by highlighting and emphasizing some of the actions NeuroPace has taken to reach more patients and more physicians. As you've heard through our clinical studies, we're working to expand our indication into generalized and pediatric. We've also talked about expanding our site of service through the CARES program, which Katie will talk about a little bit more in the next segment. As we reach our customers, we want physicians to be able to enthusiastically recommend the RNS system, and we want patients to be able to easily say yes to that recommendation. And that's why, as an R&D organization, we're focused on the continuous improvement of our product in order to remove potential barriers to adoption, so that it is obviously and easily the best solution available from all perspectives, the most effective, the most efficient, and the most sophisticated in its simplicity. We're going to accomplish these goals by focusing on three key opportunities. First, as always at NeuroPace, I'm going to start with our patients. We're going to leverage the unique and massive data set you've heard about to help improve a therapy effectiveness. And you might be asking yourself, why does the NeuroPace team think they can do that? And the short answer is we already have. You heard that patients got better faster during our post-approval study, with a median seizure reduction of 62% at 6 months and 82% at 3 years. The top quartile, better than 90% at 6 months and 100% total seizure freedom at 3 years. Those outcomes were possible exactly because we learned from our data. And as Dr. Rao mentioned, we're not yet satisfied. We know that there's more improvements that can be gained, and we're going to continue to focus on this into the future. Second, we're going to improve clinic efficiency. We're going to reduce the overall effort it takes to manage a patient's treatment with the RNS system. In a few minutes, Brett's going to walk us through our product pipeline, and he'll highlight some of the improvements we're making that will help drive those efficiencies. And third, we'll improve ease of use. We want the RNS system to be the easiest to use for patients and physicians, and we know we can make that better by adding additional capabilities. The ability to program the RNS remotely during a telehealth visit, or the ability to transfer data automatically while a patient sleeps. In order to make the most of these opportunities, we have a few focus areas within product development. First, our data. We have this unique and massive data set, something that Joel has the best description of as an asset to humanity. More than 6,500 implanted patients, more than 26,000 patient implant years, and more than 19 million intracranial EEGs. We continue to expand our capabilities around machine learning, data learning, and AI in order to take our internal software tools and turn them into customer-facing NeuroPace AI-powered products that will simplify resource-intensive tasks like the data review and therapy and detection configuration that you've heard about. These improvements will enable the physician to be able to scale their practice to treat more patients and enable NeuroPace to more rapidly and more efficiently leverage our resources to scale the business. We're also building our next generation platforms. The patient data management system, what we call PDMS, is being re-architected from the ground up in order to reclassify portions of the system with FDA. As we generate new learnings and insights from our data set, because we've reclassified portions of the system with FDA, we'll be able to more rapidly iterate and improve NeuroPace AI-powered products. Our next generation RNS platform, in addition to the capabilities I mentioned a moment ago, will enable a regular cadence of software and firmware updates, even for those patients already implanted with a neurostimulator, and will deliver enhanced detection and treatment options anchored in our data set. Everything I've discussed, everything Brett's about to discuss, will lead us to the outcomes we care most about: improving therapy effectiveness for our patients, improving clinic efficiency both for the physicians and our field team, and improving ease of use for all those involved. And I'm going to hand it over to Brett so he can talk about the details of our product pipeline. Brett.
Thanks, Dylan. I'm Brett Wingeier, Vice President of Research and Development. So before we dive into specific products, I'd love to just share the cycle that translates all of this into products and better results for the business and for our patients. So we have unique assets like the RNS system and this really world-leading data set. And we have core institutional knowledge at NeuroPace. That includes neuroscience, data science, product development, and that lets us leverage these assets into a flow of data-driven products that improve outcomes for our physicians and patients. So that means effectiveness, it means efficiency, it means ease of use, and particularly, let me point out, efficiency also means efficiency for our field team. And that means that we can grow the market, scale the customer base without having to directly scale the organization. And really importantly, the more we grow the market, the more data we collect. So we have a continuously compounding competitive advantage. Now, ever since we launched the RNS system, we've always had a patient data management system, PDMS. PDMS is where you review settings, you review the data. It's what stores this amazing data set, 19 million intracranial EEG recordings, more than 19 billion rows of event records in the database. It's foundational for pretty much everything we do. Now, systems and technologies evolve, especially stuff on the cloud. So we've been working on a next generation scalable PDMS that'll support growth into the future. Now, a lot of that work is under the hood, but importantly for our users and our patients, this is also an architecture that'll support this cadence of data-driven products and usability improvements. So the first such product is this AI-powered seizure classifier that's built right into the front page of PDMS. Now let's do a deeper dive on that, which we'll be targeting for launch later this year. Now, every brain is different. That's the power of the RNS system. It detects and treats individual epileptiform activity. That also means for a new patient, somebody has to sit and review a lot of intracranial EEG records and identify what do the seizures look like, where are they coming from. Now, when we turn on the AI-powered seizure classifier, it automatically identifies electrographic seizures, presents them to the user. That makes life easier for physicians and helps our field team scale to serve more sites and more patients. Now, as soon as you can highlight electrographic seizures in an automated way, you can get a ton more value from those data. When you can identify and count electrographic seizures, you can show what lead are they on, how many seizures are there. You can present histograms that show the progress of treatment, a patient's individual circadian rhythms, multi-day rhythms, and these are insights that translate directly to patient care. And things build still further from there. Automated seizure identification is foundational to a series of tools that all relate to effectiveness and efficiency and usability. So this sequence builds eventually toward a system that automatically proposes optimal settings for detection and treatment in any individual patient. And that eliminates still more complexity and helps us drive toward greater adoption, grow the market, and better outcomes. So let's go still deeper on how this fits together. Every seizure has an onset, right? That's the point where the brain transitions into seizure. Users of the RNS system program detection settings to catch this abnormal activity at the earliest signs of a seizure. Now, to do that, you need to identify the onset, and that's the next step beyond just highlighting seizure records. So the next generation of our data tools will report specifically on when seizures are starting, where exactly are they starting. That makes data review even easier, and it gives more important clinical insight and helps guide where to treat for maximum effectiveness. So the model that we have under development identifies seizure onset time and location with less than 1 second error compared to markings from trained clinicians. Now, where all this comes together is in a third AI tool that builds on the others. So remember, we're trying to catch abnormal activity at the earliest signs of a seizure and treat it with the best possible settings for that individual patient. Now, the way that happens is with years worth of data and experience. So now's the right time to start building that into a product that proposes optimal settings and makes everything a lot easier to get started. What you see here is one example of how our tool in development identified the very earliest signs of an event. Now, one point of clarification. Remember, all of this modeling and inference and data science happens in the patient data management system on the cloud. The data come from the neurostimulator, they get uploaded to PDMS, the analysis happens there, and the system proposes settings that can get sent down to the neurostimulator And that drives the very powerful, very flexible detection and treatment tools that are embedded in the neurostimulator. What that means is agility. It means as we continue to learn more, we can develop on that without having to change the underlying hardware. Now, why is all that so important for effectiveness and efficiency? Well, again, remember, every brain is different. So that's why responsive neurostimulation makes so much sense. It detects and treats individual activity in an individual way, but you can't get there by adding complexity for the user. So automated proposal of settings will make this simple. At this point in the roadmap, the product will propose personalized settings based on what a patient's individual signals look like, their treatment history, everything we know about how to treat epilepsy with responsive stimulation. The physician's still in the loop. The physician can review, modify, and approve the settings, and then we'll have the opportunity to update parameters with remote programming. Those are two important words. Let's talk about remote programming. Even once we've simplified setup even more, like any active implantable device, the RNS system has settings that sometimes need to be adjusted. Right now, that has to be done in the physician's office. If a patient lives 3 hours away or 12 hours away, they have to drive to the clinic. And a lot of these folks have to depend on public transport or get a ride from somebody else. Now, one of the strengths of the RNS system is that it comes with a remote monitor that already uploads data right from the patient's home. Our next step is to allow remote programming, so physicians can use that infrastructure to send new treatment settings via the remote monitor and have fully remote visits in conjunction with their own telehealth systems. And that takes away a really key pain point for the physician and for the patient, and lets us keep growing the business to more patients and more centers. Now, another way we can make life easier for patients is with automatic data transfer. So right now in the patient's home, data are uploaded with an inductive wand. That means the patient has some work to do. They have to hold the wand, they have to find time for the upload. Now we can solve that with longer range telemetry, which is going to be part of our next generation hardware platform. A better patient experience here means we've taken away another barrier to adoption, and we've kept assuring an ever-growing flow of data. And that brings us back to the neurostimulator, which is both the source of the data and, let me remind you that the fact that we have this neurostimulation treatment platform is the reason why all of our data advantages translate directly to outcomes and better treatment for patients. Longer range telemetry enables automated data upload. That'll be a key feature of our next generation platform. And we're working on this actively in parallel with our software and data efforts. The new platform will be fully compatible with the RNS system. It'll use the same mechanical envelope. It also updates the microprocessor and the custom IC. And that's exciting because it gives us a platform that we can keep developing on into the future. So let's just summarize. Here's a wrap up of our pipeline, our roadmap across two themes: data and the platforms that deliver treatment and help us keep expanding those data. So sitting here in 2025, we're planning to launch our second generation tablet remote monitor and this update to our patient data management system for scalability, and which supports our first AI-driven tool that makes it a lot easier to use the RNS system. Now, in our long-range plan, we have remote programming, we have our next generation platform project with BLE telemetry, and then a cadence of data products that progressively eliminate still more complexity, make the system easier to use, and increase efficiency in the clinic. And let me close on that. The North Star for a product strategy is we develop things that not just advance the business, but serve the needs of people living with epilepsy. And this is the roadmap that gets us there.